The shameful eruption of racism around the firing of Shirley Sherrod last week should have ended with a race-baiting conservative website losing all credibility as an objective news source. But since lately we seem to be living in a bizarre world where right-wing smears are taken as truth, 41 votes equals a majority in the Senate, and reverse racism is a bigger problem than, actual racism, that's not what happened. Today, Talking Points memo revealed an invitation to a big RNC event happening next month in Beverly Hills. And whom do Republicans want to be associated with? Who, instead of getting run out of town on a rail, is the first name featured on the invitation? The very same guy behind the entire sorry trumped-up hoax. A man whose name I'll happily refrain from mentioning. By now, after his fake Acorn scandal and after his fake Shirley Sherrod is a racist and so is everybody at the NAACP scandal, no one should say that guy's name. He should be in exile, and there should be a rule in every politician's Outlook to forward every email with his name on it to junk. Instead, he's a draw. He's good for Republican fundraising in bizarre world. And now let's look at who lost out during last week's frenzy over fake racism. On Thursday, the Senate stripped billions of dollars in aid out of its emergency war supplemental spending bill, including more than $1 billion in payments to black farmers who won a racial discrimination lawsuit against the Agricultural Department. The plaintiffs in that case included none other than Shirley Sherrod. She got her settlement last year, but the money Congress was supposed to appropriate for more plaintiffs this year has yet to materialize. It was in the war spending bill in the first place because Republicans have stripped it from every other bill it was included in this year. We don't know if Shirley Sherrod affair caused the RNC to sign up the culprit as its headliner. That remains unknown. And it doesn't appear that last week's fake scandal was what caused the Senate to strip restitution for victims of actual, real-life, documented discrimination from the appropriations bill. It's just that as the dust clears from last week's collective frenzy, take a look at the score. Conservative con artists 1, victims of real-world racial discrimination 0. Joining us now is John Boyd Jr., founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, himself a farmer in Virginia. Mr. Boyd, Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Chris, for having me tonight.
Let's just start with the basics. I think it's pretty safe to say most people don't really know that much about the class action discrimination lawsuit against the USDA or the history of racial discrimination in the agency. What was at issue in the lawsuit and the settlement?
Well, the issue was about black farmers being discriminated in USDA lending programs, farm subsidy programs. We've lost millions of acres over the past decades, and we've been fighting this lawsuit, the black farmers versus the United States Department of Agriculture, for many, many years. The first settlement was settled in 1999, with 22,000 black farmers was able to go through that process. 14,000 black farmers were meritorious. And after that, the government fought us tooth and nail on class notification. So nearly 70,000 black farmers came after the filing deadline.
Right. So let's just so people are tracking this. I mean, what it seems like there was a settlement in 1999. Then people came forward. The USDA was sort of reviewing each person, right, to see if they were going to pay out a claim, and they were striking a lot of them. Is my understanding.
Well, what happened was many of the black farmers came after the filing deadline. They were denied access to take part in the class action lawsuit, which brings us till today, where we have 70,000 black farmers. In 2008, then Senator Barack Obama sponsored our bill in the Senate, which passed into law, which allowed those 70,000 black farmers to have their cases heard based on its merit, and also applied $100 million in that bill. But today, we're out here today still looking for the appropriation where the president put in his budget for $1.15 billion. So the total settlement is for $1.25 billion. And we've been shut out of the Senate by Republicans. We've never had one Republican vote for this measure in the Senate. And I'm here today calling on Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to do the right thing by black farmers, and we're also calling on Senate Leader Harry Reid to introduce a bill this week, a freestanding bill, and we would like to see a vote on that bill this week so that black farmers can finally see justice here in this country.
Do you think there's support on Capitol Hill for this? And first of all, I want to just make sure that people are this $1.25 billion is restitution for a very long and documented list of the USDA's malfeasance and discrimination against black farmers for years and years and years. So this is just catching up now. Do you think there is congressional will on Capitol Hill to have that vote happen?
I would like to thank the Congressional Black Caucus, who helped lead the way along with Speaker Pelosi, where that bill passed twice, once in the tax extender bill and here recently in the war bill. Both of those bills failed in the Senate. We were also in a bill earlier this year that also failed. So we've been out here a very, very long time, and it's time for the Senate to step up and do the right thing for black farmers and pass this bill so that black farmers can get on with their lives. Many are older now. We're dying. We're losing land. I've been to more funerals this year than I've been to in my life, where, 10 years ago the average black farmer was 60, so they're now 70 years of age, and many are dying off waiting for justice. So we're calling on the Senate to take the appropriate action and to do it now for our nation's black farmers. They shouldn't have to wait another day. We went to court. We won in court. There's been report after report. The Civil Rights Action Team report at USDA, where it investigated itself and found itself guilty of discriminating against black farmers. So here we are waiting for justice, and I looked at what happened to Mrs. Sherrod, where she was, just fired, right on the spot there. And here we have nearly 80,000 late filers total, and not one person's been fired for the act of discrimination against the black farmers. So,
John, I'm going to stop you right there.
Compelling case.
We're sorry, we're up against a break. John Broyd Jr., founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.